hope there are some young friends out there who are able to tune in and listen to this morning. I hope you're all doing well. I'm sorry that we can't all be together. It seems a little unusual, but in the midst of everything that's going on, we still get to have some time together. And I think our story today that we hear about Jesus and the woman at the well can actually give us some things that will be really helpful to remember in the midst of all of this weird stuff that's going on. So the first thing that we learn in the story is that Jesus shows up in some unusual places. In the story, Jesus goes to a place called Samaria, and, well, to be honest, the Jews and the Samaritans, they didn't get along very well. They each thought that they knew something that the other people didn't, and they fought about it all the time. So it was really weird that Jesus would go to this place where really the people were sort of enemies to him, but that's exactly what Jesus did. He went somewhere unexpected so he could share God's love and the story of God's love with people. So that's the first lesson to remember, is that Jesus goes to some unusual places. The second thing to remember is that Jesus is going to show up no matter how we feel, whether we're happy or whether we're sad, whether we're confused or angry. And in the story today with the Samaritan woman, she's going to the well to get water, and Jesus is there. And she's probably very confused and a little bit nervous about what this gentleman, what this man at the well is going to do, what he wants, and what is he going to say to her. But as she gets there and they start talking, Jesus treats her as he would anyone else. He talks to her. He shares the word. He tells her some things that maybe she needs to change in her life. But as he talks to her, those feelings of anxiety and confusion go away. And she actually feels better. She actually feels like she's getting to know Jesus. And she even feels good enough about him to run back to the village and tell others to come and meet him. The third thing that we need to remember from this story is that when Jesus shows up, he brings us what we need. The Samaritan woman at the well felt like she didn't really belong. She had done some things that she wasn't really happy with, and some things that the people in the town didn't think that she should have done. And so she was a little bit of an outcast, and she had to go to the well by herself. But when Jesus is there, he brings her words and he tells her about God's love and about God's grace and mercy, and how she is welcome to get that grace and mercy too. He includes her. He brings her the words and the invitation to know God better. It's just what she needed. So we see Jesus showing up in some unusual places, and we see Jesus showing up no matter how we're feeling, and we see Jesus bringing us exactly what we need. And I think those things are important right now, because right now, we aren't able to get together and talk about Jesus like we usually do. And yet, Jesus is still showing up. You're watching him right now. He's still showing up in your world in unusual ways. Also right now, we might be a little uncertain or a little confused about everything that's going on, but that's not going to keep Jesus from loving us. It's not going to keep Jesus from blessing us. It's not going to keep us from knowing where Jesus is. And Jesus is going to keep showing up with exactly what we need. Sure, we don't know if we're going to be in school or not. We don't know everything that's going on. But Jesus is giving us what we need. He's given us families that are loving us and taking care of us. He's given us some fancy cameras and technology so that we can still have this time together. Jesus is still showing up, even with everything that's going on. So I hope you can remember that until we're back together again. And until we're back together again, remember how much God loves you, and remember how much your church family loves you too. I hope I see you real soon.